3, 2, 1. And good morning. Welcome to Face the State here on Montana's news station this morning. I'm happy to introduce to you our guest for the half hour is Dr. Nadir Atash, a renowned Afghan-American educator, entrepreneur, and activist. Dr. Atash is a former official in the Afghanistan government and is here today to talk with us about the situation currently going on in Afghanistan and to talk about his book that's just out on the newsstands across the country. Your book is entitled Turbulence, The Tumultuous Journey of One Man's Quest for Change in Afghanistan. And we welcome Dr. Nadir Atash to our show. Dr. Atash, thanks for stopping in. It's our pleasure to pick your brain here a little bit this morning about Afghanistan. My first question is, how did you end up in Montana this week? Are you just making the rounds promoting your book?
That's true, and I'm very pleased to be in Montana for the first time in the great state of Montana. I've heard so much about it, and I know it's a great place to be here, and I welcome the opportunity to be with you in your show. I'm here as part of my basically work activity to promote Afghanistan in my book also, which fits in that realm of activities. I'm here to speak to Bill&'s Committee on Foreign Relations. And actually this event will be on Thursday, already on Thursday, and to discuss the book and also what are the challenges facing us in Afghanistan and how we can meet those challenges successfully so that we do not spend our blood and our treasure in vain in Afghanistan.
Let me just give our viewers a little bit of your background. You were actually educated here in the United States. You say you came here at a very young age as a foreign exchange student, correct?
Yes, I did. When I was 16, I got the privilege and opportunity to come to the U.S. as part of the first Afghans who participated in the American Field Service AFS program.
Right.
And I stayed with an American family with my American mom and dad for a year in Madison, Wisconsin, which was an opportunity that changed my life actually. And then I went back to Afghanistan, finished my high school. For my undergraduate work, I went to American University of Beirut in Beirut. Basically, my area of training was in chemistry. And so I became a science educator in Afghanistan for many years and had an opportunity to come back to this country in 1972 for about a year to work on my master's degree at Claremont Graduate School. And I went back to Afghanistan to work. And in 1977, I got an opportunity to come to Florida State University to work on my PhD, which I did. But then the wars and problems in Afghanistan started, so I could not go back. And I was here for about 25 years before I had an opportunity to go back to my homeland.
And when you did go back to your homeland, you were a government official there, helping out with the Afghan airline. What's the name of the airline?
Ariana Airline. Actually, it didn't start like that.
Okay.
I volunteered on my own because I thought I owed so much for my country, getting many scholarships and so forth, and I was eager to participate in the education to get back. And so I packed my bags and said goodbye to my family and went on my own. In fact, I was very hesitant to work with the government because there are so many other opportunities that one can do. I had started a charitable organization even in the 1990s when Taliban were in power to offer in a small scale whatever we could do opportunities for schooling for girls and boys in Afghanistan and rural areas, and through a foundation that I had established in 1990s. So I said I'm going to work more in that area, people to people, and I learned a lot, and I can discuss that part of it because I learned a great deal by listening to Afghans and traveling to the, not just staying in Kabul, but going in remote areas on foot for many days, you know, where there is no hospital, no roads. So it's an adventure and also opportunities to learn. This is something that we are not doing much of. And one of my recommendations is to listen to Afghans and to genuine Afghans and not to just government officials and self-interest, which I think is one of the causes for the deterioration of situation in Afghanistan.
I was going to say, you're thinking that's one of the problems. We aren't doing enough listening these days. The United States is over there. Maybe we're listening to the wrong people. We'll let you get into that a little more. I'm still curious about the whole airline, because when you mentioned you were the head of the airline, I wasn't aware Afghanistan had an airline, and you said, in fact, it was one of the best airlines around, came out of Pan American Airlines.
Exactly. In the 1950s, when the Afghan government basically was trying to connect Afghanistan to the world, and because Afghanistan was isolated due to its geography and also its politics. In both World War I and World War II, Afghanistan was neutral. It didn't participate on anyone's behalf, so it remained on the sidelines. But then the government decided that it's time to connect so that we could bring technology and benefit from the progress from the and airline was a major tool. So the government established a joint venture with Pan Am, which was, the best airline in the world in those days.
Right.
And so Ariana Afghan Airline, by the way, the symbol was designed by the king of Afghanistan, Zahir Shah, at that time, and still that symbol is in use in Afghanistan.
Really?
And so because the government was very much interested, and the government was clean, and it cared for the people, and with very meager resources, the airline, like many other institutions, flourished in Afghanistan with the help of Pan Am, of course, in this case, because Pan Am brought a lot of training, their systems, and in fact, even up to now, those systems are in use in Ariana, but of course, those systems have become obsolete in this country. In other places, aviation has really changed in the other countries, but that's the part of the reason that we do not have adequate training like we had before. And of course, we have other problems like corruption, nepotism that needs to be addressed. But Ariana really was, I think in its heydays, one of the best airlines in the region, and it received many awards in those days.
Let's talk a little bit about your book, because I want to get to the meat of your message. And basically, your book breaks down the recent history of Afghanistan into 3 eras. Explain that to our viewers, if you would.
My book, The Turbulence, is a true story of Afghanistan. It's told from 2 perspectives. One perspective is my own life story, as I grew up in Afghanistan, and how my goals and aspirations were fulfilled in Afghanistan. And basically that means getting education and those opportunities that were offered, all of them by the government of Afghanistan, people of Afghanistan. That's why I said that I owed so much for the people of Afghanistan that I needed to pay. And of course, you can never pay back to your homeland, but at least to the extent one can do. Also, I've told the story of the airline also, because so from the era from the 50s to 1978, when the Russians, when the communists took over Afghanistan, Afghanistan was progressing. And that's
the period of progress,
that's the period of progress. And there are many episodes in the book how that progress is being basically fulfilled for individuals like myself, for institutions like the airline, and some other institutions in the country as a whole. And it's interesting because Afghanistan managed to prosper in those days. Of course, Afghanistan was a poor country, I'm not saying that, but progress was being made by its own resources mostly, with very little help from outside. The main assistance giver, donor in those days was USSR, and then USA, and some other countries. But even then, with the scale of the assistance was not compared to what we are talking about now.